You Will Die Here Tonight is a top-down roguelike survival horror game with permadeath, where you play as the members of the Ares Division, a special police branch as they explore Breckenridge Hall, where the only certainty is that they will die. The game is available on Steam. Atmosphere. Breckenridge Hall is the epitome of a puzzle box trap-laden mansion of horror game fame, and the game really makes no illusions as to what is going on inside it from the very start, with the opening pretty much declaring that the place is rigged and you're very much fighting against the odds. There's a ton of apprehension from there on out as you expect nearly everything you interact with to blow up in your face, and the game deliberately obscures the dangers as little as possible. An obvious trapdoor underneath a shotgun lures you in to die. Though there are some moments where the danger really does come out of nowhere, and some deaths really do feel unavoidable and unforeseeable, which can really put a dampener on the atmosphere and the fun. The game's mechanics themselves add a ton of pressure, also with the game only giving you 6 lives, one for each member of the Ares team, with the possibility of earning a token that allows you to resurrect them all again if you can find said token. But as stated earlier, exploring Breckenridge Hall and messing with things is what will probably also cost your characters their lives. Besides this, the game is just the right kind of cliched spooky with foreboding lighting, haunting music, and the thunder cracks outside. It's once again a stormy evening and you're exploring what is probably where you'll die tonight. That's one Harry Mason. Scares. The game's scares come mostly from the enemies and the traps, with the combat having the unique twist of turning first person when the enemies close in on you. This makes combat more frantic with your field of view being greatly reduced, allowing enemies to sneak up on you from behind whilst you're dealing with what's in front of you. Cooldowns for reloading and enemies grabbing and shaking the screen turn regular combat into something more skill-based and desperate. Some enemies are incredibly fast and waste no time jumping on top of you. Your health and ammo is limited due to resource management, and being unprepared can really be part of your swift undoing. Whether this is frightening or not really depends on how prepared you are, but most of the time the combat stays stressful but not frightening. The traps are a bit of a mixed bag, however, leaning more into the tense atmosphere than the scares, but some do have a chance of inflicting a few short shocks. The game is arguably scary, but largely just creepy and tense. That's still one Harry Mason. Sound design. The sound effects are crisp and realistic, with the satisfying sound of guns reloading matched up perfectly with the reverb and the sound of rain outside to fully immerse even with your eyes closed. Some effects are generic stock effects, certainly, but they're mixed in with so many unique ones that harken back to the classic menu sounds of Golden Age survival horror that makes each event, like picking up items and engaging with the menus, feel creepy somehow. The game's music is very reminiscent of early Resident Evil games, with the soft pianos, cellos, and string sections bringing uncertainty in spades. Dark drones and jangling chimes evoke the perfect amount of suspense to go behind the gameplay. There's no voice acting from any of the characters, just the clicking of text being written onto the screen, but enemies groan eerily in the distance and grunt as they race towards you. The game's directional audio works extremely well to let you figure out what side of the screen threats and other effects are coming from, which is helpful when exploring the mansion. The sound design is very, very good and went well above what was needed of the game. That's 2 Harry Masons. Gore. Shooting the enemies in the head causes bits of their cranium to get blown off until their skull finally explodes in a very gnarly way, with a geyser of blood erupting from the neck. Using things like the knife at close range causes blood splatters across the screen. The corpses you kill seep blood onto the floor as you walk past them. Despite this, the game isn't overtly gory, and when blood appears, it's both logical and satisfying. That's 3 Harry Masons. Story. Ares' team arrive at Breckenridge Hall to find Jeff Monroe, but are quickly subdued by a mysterious event. Upon awakening, a lone member of the team finds their target, Monroe, already dead, and zombies are on the loose. There's a lot of talk of experiments and pathogens, as is par for the course in survival horror, alongside several mentions of the history of the manor and the people who used to live there. The game's story seems fairly standard and unoriginal for a while, but quickly turns into mind-bending when the game seemingly restarts. From then on out, it's about loops and doing things in the right order, but in a roguelike game, it's easier said than done, and the game does an especially poor job trying to convey to you the correct order in which to properly unravel the story in. On intrigue alone, it manages to be compelling, but actually getting the story out of the game is a challenge not unlike the game itself. Making the final score 3 out of 5 Harry Masons. You Will Die Here Tonight has a few problems, mostly tied in with its unique gameplay feature of permadeath. Whilst in my playthrough I managed to find 2 coins, granting me 18 lives in total to complete the game with, your luck may vary, and as I said earlier, some of the traps can be quite unfair, but underneath that is a pretty neat little survival horror game that's trying to do something unique. Again, I'd like to remind you the whole thing is down to my opinion in horror games, and if you don't share this opinion, then that's cool, I get it. I'd like to point out that whilst I died here tonight, I didn't let it hold me back, and advise you don't either. There'll be more horror reviews in the pipeline, and thanks for watching. Always go check out Bumps in the Middle of the Night. Peace.